Good afternoon, West Catholic, and welcome to another edition of Facebook Live. It is January 9th, I believe, right? February 9th. Thank you, Cam.
The month of love.
Joining me as a special guest on today's show is our very own Coach Cam, or Mr. Burns. Welcome, Mr. Burns. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Tony? I'm super pumped to co-host here with you. Hopefully, I figure out if I have maybe a calling to be a broadcaster or something in my future. But
I think we used to joke about that when you were playing basketball here and I was your coach, right?
Absolutely.
Future in television. Fantastic. Well, we have a pretty packed show for you guys today. We're excited to share about some of the things going on this week, especially and while we're celebrating St. Josephine Bakita Feast Week. And we have a few other features that we're going to share. And so we're excited to have you here. If you have a chance and you're watching us, don't forget to like us on I think it's our YouTube, our Facebook, all our social media, Twitter. And don't be afraid to comment in the comment section. We love to see who's out there, who's listening, and maybe even something you may want to hear from us as we proceed through the show or something for the future. So again, don't be afraid to comment on our Facebook page. Coach Cam, I think it's about that time where we hit the chatter times. Yeah.
Chatter time.
Lead us off there.
Yeah, absolutely. So donate an item to the Celebrate West auction. We need your help in order to make our Celebrate West auction a success. We're looking for smaller raffle items like gift baskets, jewelry, kitchenware, sports memorabilia, camping gear, gift cards, and some other fun items. You can contact our development department team at 616-233-5918 with any ideas or questions.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that. Celebrate West. It's a wonderful and fun night. Also coming up, we have the MathWorks Math Challenge. The MathWorks Math Challenge, say that fast a couple times. It's the last weekend of February. Teams of up to 5 juniors and seniors can win up to $25,000 in scholarships for their team. If you are interested in forming or being part of a team, please speak with Mrs. Cortez as soon as possible.
Well, next up, spring sports right around the corner. So spring sports physicals, they officially begin on Monday, March 14th. In order to practice and compete, all spring sports must have a physical on file by that date. You can download your form on the MHSA site or our grwestcatholicsports.org and send those to me.
All right. Very nice. And lastly, next week, we have the incoming family open house. So if you're a student or a family that has already applied to West Catholic and you're getting ready to come, or you're still discerning what high school you're going to attend, we'd love to have you come join us on February 16th, next week, Wednesday, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We will be hosting all 9th grade incoming families and those who are interested. To learn more or to sign up, go to grwestcatholic.org/visit. We'll include things like some pointers from teachers, maybe a tour of the building, and have open availability for you to ask questions. Speaking of, on that night, we'll also have our Spirit Store open. So if you are planning to come and you're looking to get some gear ahead of time, please don't be afraid to stop by the Spirit Store, which leads us into Cam's giveaway.
Hey. So our Spirit Store is open. We have given away a handful of items already from the Spirit Store. So some of those items that I gave away will be located in the Spirit Store on that 9th grade open house. But let's talk about last week's winner of our We Are West Catholic long sleeve gray t-shirt here. The winners are Joey Mahaney and Joey Petts. Their grandma, actually, Jeannie Lusk, wanted them to wear the t-shirt. These are the long sleeve gray shirts that we Are West Catholic there. But for this week's giveaway, going back to some things that we already talked about, spring sports, it can get a little rainy. So this week's, we have our very own West Catholic umbrella.
Very nice.
It will come in handy. I promise you that.
Yeah, there definitely are going to be some of those rainy days for spring sports, and there always are. So that's a really good one to have. Excited about that. Excellent.
Yeah, be sure to comment if you want Cam's giveaway. Make sure you're commenting.
Yeah. Okay, another segment that we do each and every week here, and we have a special guest this week, our Dean of Students, Mr. Sean Nolan, to do, is our Did You Know? And so we worked out the Did You Know with Mr. Nolan earlier this week. I'm going to have Mr. Nolan talk to you about the Did You Know segment of our Facebook Live show.
St. Josephine Bakhita is the patron of one of our communities, the St. Josephine Bakhita community. She's a wonderful saint. So she's born in the south part of Sudan, the Darfur region, to just wonderful parents. She has a family. Around the age of 9, though she doesn't remember clearly, that's part of the trauma, she's kidnapped by slave dealers and enslaved and sold and sold and sold and sold a number of times that she doesn't remember from all the trauma of that experience. And she was beaten repeatedly. She has somewhere around 140 lash marks on her body. They counted later in life that those all remain, those scars. So from the trauma of all of that, she doesn't remember how old she was. She doesn't even remember how many times she was necessarily sold. She ended up being sold to an Italian who happened to be in Sudan for a number of Italian reasons, right? And then he goes back to Italy, and at great personal difficulty, she wins her freedom, because at the time, slavery was illegal in Italy, and so the Italian judge ruled that she could not be considered a slave. She couldn't be brought back to Sudan, against actually the advice of all of these other people in the place who say, no, Josephine, you should go back with this person, go back to Sudan, you should follow their orders, that sort of thing. And she persists. She stands on her own and says, no, I am a child of God and I will not be enslaved. And then she ends up moving into a convent with a group of sisters. Later, she joins the community and she becomes a beautiful witness. She ends up caring for children for much of her religious life. She becomes a beautiful witness to those children of great tenderness and great affection, having forgiven the people who did all these horrible things to her. She recognized the grace of God amidst all of that. So for us, this is part of why we're celebrating St. Josephine Bakhita. She's such a great example of the power of forgiveness, the power of love, the power of reconciliation, the power, in the words of Jesus Christ, in the life of the person to even recognize their own dignity, their own beauty as a child of God.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Nolan, for sharing the Did You Know for this week. Always great information. One of the Did You Knows that we had earlier on this year pertained to our Adoration Chapel and the fact that we have adoration each and every day throughout the school day, where community members, parents, former parents, alums, grandparents come up and say prayers for our students. And this week, we've been able to put together another feature on adoration and the history of adoration. And our president, Mrs. Cynthia Kneibel, helped us put together this big feature. So let's hear about the Adoration Chapel from Mrs. Kneibel.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Kneibel, the president here at West Catholic, and I'm thrilled to have this group of adorers with me. We are celebrating 30 years of daily adoration for every day our students have been in the building, even during COVID. The difference that prayer from the community makes is amazing. You can feel the Holy Spirit in our halls. It helps our students, it helps our community, and we are just forever grateful. Let's go on and talk about how did this all start.
My name is Lois Flickinger. My tie specifically to West Catholic is through the Adoration Chapel, which I helped start in 1992. In the late 1980s, there was a shooting in a school, not a Catholic school, and at that point, I think God just placed on my heart that we needed to pray for our students. One day I walked into the office to get something established for the ski team, and the woman that I needed to talk to was walking across the chapel, and I heard this loud thought in my head, "Ask now, I'm tired of waiting." I just blurted out my request and how I saw it unfolding. She stood there and looked at me and then said, "As long as it's done in accordance with the rules from Rome," and left. She never said another word. And I felt very, very strongly that Christ had stepped forward and claimed West Catholic for his own. At the time we started adoration here, it was not a common practice. You can try and do a good thing, but if it's not God's time yet, it doesn't unfold. Oh, I definitely think God has blessed us with wonderful people. Some of these people have done this adoration since the program began. There's between 75 and 80 people involved in any given school year. Has there been a change in West Catholic's atmosphere since the adoration began? I would definitely say yes. We're made for Him. If we ignore Him and do not spend time with Him, how can we develop a relationship with Him?
All right. What a wonderful feature. And again, we are so blessed here at West Catholic to have so many people who willingly show up each and every day to pray for our students and staff and all those that are in our building working tirelessly. Again, we're very blessed and thankful. All right. Earlier on in this week and even last week, we were able to catch up with the boys and girls bowling teams of West Catholic High School. Gonzo, who again isn't joining us right now, but I know is watching because I saw him in the comments. Hi, Gonzo. Was able to head out even to the lanes to meet up with the bowlers and the coach. And then earlier on this week, John and I actually interviewed our bowling coach. Some technical difficulties, but we tried to make it work. So why don't we go ahead and play the interview of Gonzo and myself with Coach
David Berry.
David Berry.
Yeah.
So now we're on the line here with Coach David Berry of the West Catholic bowling team. Coach, how you doing?
Good.
Well, Coach, I really appreciated at least seeing from John's perspective how much fun our students are having as they compete really hard in bowling. Maybe you could give us a little bit of a summary of how the season's going and you know what your thoughts are on the students that are participating this year.
So the group that we have for both the boys and girls, I don't even know how to describe how excited I've been internally. I've shown a little excitement externally because obviously it's my first year to West Catholic. Very thankful for the opportunity that Megan has allowed me to come and be a part of, being a Falcon. I would say this is like a foundational year. I have a group of kids who I have no seniors on either side. So it's very exciting where the sky is very much the limit. So this year we've been laying a lot of foundational practices and principles that can really be awesome going into the future season. I'm also looking forward to what the upcoming 8th graders coming into the freshman realm next year. So it's just been really good to see kids like it. I've had lots of parents say the kids are enjoying it.
Good luck the rest of the season into regionals. And do we have any bowlers that might advance? Because I mean, it's a team sport; it's also individual, right?
Correct. So I got two that are got a pretty good shot. So Noah Domeyer, I think it's how you say his last name, and then Caleb Van Linden. So these two are really sharp. But there's a couple other ones that have definitely come alive this year. So on the boys, I think Ethan Powell, Jack Rashawn, Ryan Greenup. These guys have an opportunity to make it to states as well. And then Amber Whitson and Amelia. I mean, all the girls have a possible opportunity. It just depends on what scores are out there.
It's exciting to me to talk about that. And I think with high school bowling, what I learned watching the kids in Coach Berry probably knows this already, is that you see them progress quickly. I mean, even when I was there for the short time, I saw, one of the young girls throw a gutter ball on a warm up, right? And she was embarrassed. Well, she came back and she had a good score and did really well, right? And that must be exciting, Coach, to see these kids just grow so quickly.
It is. And that's one of the things that with the foundations and the drills that we kind of put into play, watching them. And I don't want to say that they were bad. I'll never say that they were bad because they weren't. They don't know what they didn't know. And so there's a starting spot and they've advanced big time. And I've told Mark, I'm like, I don't even think either the boys or the girls understand how quickly they have gotten better. And they're right at that cusp because there's some solid teams out there like Hudsonville and Unity, and there's some other teams that we've come up against that the first time around, they did very well against us. And then the second time around, they're like, wow, you guys are a different team. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Like, I don't even think our teams realize how quickly they're getting better and advancing.
Well, Coach, thanks again for your effort, and like Mr. Fisher said, for all the work and your dedication and your staff of volunteers and parents too, because I know it takes a community there to make a sport like bowling that doesn't get the primetime exposure. It takes a unique community to pull it all together. Thank you so much for your time here on West Catholic Live, and we'll see you soon.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you very
Coach.
much.
All right. Thanks, Coach Barry, again for joining us for that interview. Sorry about the audio and stuff, everyone out there, but we made it work, I think. And, you know, the interview was actually quite a bit longer. We got some really good in-depth information, some good things about coaching, some of the plans that Coach Barry's looking forward to, especially relative to even younger student athletes being able to participate at the middle school level. You can check that out on our podcast, which, again, you can find on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify and YouTube, on our YouTube channel too, I believe. Again, the podcast will have the full-length interview with Coach Barry. We're excited for all the stuff that he's doing, right, Coach Cam?
Absolutely.
You interacting with him a lot more than I.
Yeah, quite a bit. Coming in, even during his interview, he talked very high on middle school development and how it starts at an early age. So he fits what we're trying to do here in the athletic department, and we're super thankful to have a great coach like Coach Barry.
Yeah, good. Great hire. First year. Looking forward to all the great things that he's going to do for our student athletes. All right, folks, coming up, we have another fun segment on the household system. And again, we had to record it, which is great, but we get to see Mr. Nolan, who's going to talk to us a little bit about on the household. So can we please play the video?
All right, let's talk households, Mr. Nolan. Explain the whole household concept to me.
Elevator speech about the households. We've taken our students and organized them into roughly groups of 16, 4 from each grade level, and it's mixed gender, so boys and girls are in the same household. The basic purpose of households is relational development, intentional relational development. Like, we want to help give you time during the school day where we're saying, we're Christians, we're Catholics. We think relationships are really important to the good life, and we want to help you to learn how to develop those. These don't have to be people that are your best friends forever. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But the point is, can you relate to them? Can you learn to be in relationship with them?
Now, I know there are several goals. I believe there are 4 goals for each household, for the household system. It's been in place for a couple of years now here at West Catholic. Is that right?
This is the second year.
The second year. Now, what are the principles or goals, or what are our achievements?
Yeah, we've called them a couple things. We called them pillars or guiding principles. There are 3 of them: prayer, presence, and persistent growth. So we think that if we're praying together, right, relating to God, to Jesus together, if we're together, that's presence, right, then we will grow as people. Like, there's something about being a human being that just relating to each other, being present with others at length, that generates some really important kinds of growth and development in young people.
So I added a 4th. I don't know what that would be. I guess it has to start with a P, right?
Well, I'm the dean for Bikita, so let's just say it's Bikita wins is the 4th pillar.
I know. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because there's kind of a competitive nature here to these households. What is Bikita? I'm PO.
You're gonna be in PO, yep.
And what are the other 2?
And then Miguel Pro,
okay,
and Catherine of Siena.
And these are named after saints.
These are all saints.
Okay.
Well,
great.
I like to make fun of my friend who leads Pro. Pro is a blessed. He's not a saint, but he's close. Yeah.
All right. And so you set up these games too, because I noticed, like, during was it PO that we had the soccer game? Was it?
Mm-hmm.
So we have different contests that we set up periodically.
Yeah. So the during the so we chose these saints for a number of reasons. One of them is because because those saints, their feast days happen during the school year. So that allows us to celebrate the saint, celebrate that community, but also compete together as communities. So, for example, the thing you were talking about with that bubble soccer was a community competition. Let's get a few people from each community. Again, there's 4 communities, 32 houses. Each house has 16 in it. So at the level of community, you've got about 120 people, right? At that level, there's competition among the various communities.
Right. Well, I love it. I've been involved. I've been here since mid-October, and I've been part of a household. And what I love most about it is the mixture of grades. So in that group that you're in, it's almost like a homeroom in a sense, right? But it's different because in that group you have a mixture of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And the dynamic of bringing those different grades together, they're friends in that group for their whole time here at West Catholic, right?
Yeah, you stay in the same household. So the freshmen who walk into a household, that's their household for the next 4 years. So the stability of relationship is an important piece of the puzzle. I would also say too that a number of our underclassmen have spoken very positively about, I would never talk to seniors like at all. Like I don't have a chance to do it. They all sit together at lunch already. They're in classes that I'm not in, and I'm on the freshman team and not the varsity, right? So this gives our underclassmen a chance to actually interact in really positive ways with our upperclassmen.
Lastly, I love the fact that parents can be involved too. You probably think, well, how is that possible? Well, I love that you also set up charitable, opportunities for families to be involved. I know that during the food, we've had a food drive. We've done different things, right?
That's right. We do try to do service. That's an important piece. I will say since we launched last year, it was a little harder to do service. So we are working on ramping that upward. If viewers, if you have ideas, please feel free to contact me. Like, this is something we could do. Our students would love it. It'd be easy to do. That'd be all. I personally would love to hear about it. I want to do service, but I'm not great at finding opportunities all the time. So definitely let us know. But we have another one coming up that, we've got a couple interviews as well. So we're going to be doing some letters for Mercy Health St. Mary's, encouragement, support, gratitude for the medical staff there.
All right, the students are getting wound up already, so it's every day. It's always fun. You never know what's going to happen here at West Catholic High School, but one thing that we can count on is the household system and growing closer together. Mr. Nolan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, John. I appreciate your time.
All right, John, thanks for doing that interview with Mr. Nolan. I have to say thank you again to Mr. Nolan, who when we were putting together the households, and we actually spent a couple years talking about the design and whether or not we wanted to do it, studying the houses. Mr. Dulce did a whole lot of work on, what is the household system and how would it fit into West Catholic, lots of research. And in the end, we have to pick somebody who's going to be in the leadership role. And, Mr. Nolan, he and I spoke a few different times. He was willing. There were a few other members of the staff that were excited to serve in a leadership role. And when we asked Mr. Nolan, he was excited to take on the role of leading the house system as the director of households. And he's been doing a great job. And I'm especially appreciative to him, his team, Mr. Rolf, Mrs. Naraki, and they're actually hiring another leader because Mr. Gietzen was one before he left us. Like he said, starting it during COVID was not easy for him, for leadership and for our staff.
What was easy? Tony?
Yeah, you are right. But they really did a great job pulling it off. I'm so thankful to all of them. So I think that's just going to be about do it for us. Thank you so much, Cam, for joining us this afternoon. It was fun. We've come a long way, right?
A long way from player to coach to student to teacher to employees of West Catholic and now co-host on the West Catholic Live show. What a journey. What else is going to be in store for us?
I don't know, man. You're right. Colleagues and friends is incredible. So good example for our students to see. Don't forget, folks, you can join us each and every Wednesday at 3:00 for Facebook Live, and look out for our podcast. We'll keep doing many different podcasts over the course of the weeks. Gonzo and I did one Monday just to wrap up, sports scores and what was happening over the weekend. And we plan to do that every Monday. And we're looking to do some more. Again, don't forget that the bowling interview will be its own podcast because it's longer than what we showed you. Feel free to catch those on, again, Spotify and Apple iTunes. And again, join us on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at GR West Catholic. Once again, from Cam and I, and all of West Catholic, thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Have a wonderful evening, West Catholic.